I am particularly interested in Formula One. I've been watching it for over a decade. But this is going to go way beyond just Formula One, right?
Right. I think one thing to keep in mind is that racing today, Formula One racing, is as much about data management as driving. So these cars have 120, 150 sensors on them as they're out there on the track, and they're feeding back this torrent of information. And Formula One teams, McLaren in particular, have gotten very good at taking this information, processing it very quickly, and making decisions based on it. And a few years ago, they realized this is a skill set that's valuable far beyond racing. And so they've started to hire themselves out to companies like, very far beyond racing, things like hospitals, oil and gas drilling companies, pharmaceutical companies, companies like that.
Now, I don't want to give too much away from the story because it's a great read, but it kicks off with an anecdote about Lewis Hamilton driving in Monaco. And what amazed me was McLaren was almost able to forecast the weather basically better than a meteorologist would be able to do for a tire change.
Yeah, so basically in the weeks and days leading up to one of these races, they've got these simulations running constantly, trying to predict how the race is going to unfold.
And during the race, right?
Right, and then as the race starts, the data keeps coming in, and so the simulations get more and more accurate. So at any point when something happens, they have a recommendation for what they should do. So with Monaco in 2008, there was a rather disastrous occurrence in lap 6. They thought they were out of the race. Hamilton comes in and pits, and basically the recommendation they were given by their system allowed him to go out and basically get back into the lead within 10 or 15 laps.
So where else is this technology, you think, going to be most useful, or where does McLaren think it's going to be most useful?
Well, one of the really interesting places it's being used is in oil and gas exploration. And one way to think about these drills is sort of like a race car. I mean, they're being driven by an operator, 10 miles above where the drill bit is, and they're going through this very hard soil, soft sand, things like that. And so there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of risk. I mean, if you get things wrong, you can have an environmental disaster. And so McLaren is designing this software tool that these operators can use in these very high-stakes situations to basically give them recommendations for how to proceed when things start to get a little bit weird, when otherwise they would have to shut down the operation or maybe make a really serious mistake.
All right, Drake, thanks very much. Great read. Drake Bennett for this week's issue of Bloomberg Business Week, writing about McLaren.